some people actually said they called it swatting, where they find the home and they call the FBI and say there's a hostage situation. And someone
Oh
came
my
to his house
goodness.
3 a.m. in the morning, helicopters, police, pulled him out, and they're like, guns on him. You know what I mean? Like,
Dang, that's
it's supposed to be a safe
crazy.
home. So this comes straight from the mouth of Tony Robbins. The best way to build the tallest tower in town is to destroy others, right? Steve Larson also taught this same exact idea. He says this is what Apple did to Windows when they start throwing rocks at Windows. They were saying they actually had ads, where it's like a pretty girl Apple or what was it? It was that Apple versus Windows, and you remember those commercials where it shows like two different characters, and one was the cool hip one, the other one was old and like outdated. It literally is that moment. So yes, Apple grew massively because they put themselves on the map alongside the competitor, which is great. But at the same time, you can only go so far stepping on someone else's, someone else's wins.
It's
right?
like politics. I instantly think about all the hateful politics, right? So the lesson there is
Seriously.
not to do that, right?
Exactly.
The lesson isn't, hey, that's a quick way, you should do it.
100%.
But we see this, right? So what were we talking about that stemmed that?
So
the Hormozi launch,
yeah,
right?
you heard how crazy. I couldn't go 3 scrolls down of Twitter or X before I saw someone speaking about Hormozi. Some people were saying great things. I was one of those who were saying great things. There were others who were knocking on him because he was selling a hat at the end. He put scarcity to a hat, and I thought like, why? I don't see why. Like, what's so bad about that?
Hat,
Like,
bro?
that was
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean, it's amazing.
The fact that he created a huge wave, like for everyone to have a feeling about, like, I don't know if you saw it, but people were saying the acquisition apocalypse is here, and that everyone is gonna learn to sell, and then you're gonna become so saturated, and you're like, and people are like, it got me like worried, like, oh, I better work harder, but in reality, like, someone literally called it out. They said you can tell the people who has a scarcity versus an abundant mindset
Yep.
just on that message alone.
Yep.
So
100%. And I saw on that someone who was hating on him like that, which, like, again, this big of a movement with nothing paid other than his one book that he gave away for $2.
yes,
So, like, you just can't go full hate mode. I don't understand it. But the person said, my takeaway is he's the king of execution.
yes,
He showed how he did each of the 4 methods, I guess you could call it, to build up to this event. And so, I mean, it was living proof that, like, he put the execution, and I think that's where people will fall flat. They won't go execute it, right? There's so many excuses that come in, or we're just like, we can't overcomplicate it. And I like that he said in one of the videos was, what did he say? Basically, like, he said you can learn more from 100 cold calls than, learning any more from cold calling. So he was like, that's the cheapest way to get the lesson, is to actually just go take the biggest action item and go for it.
and it ties to that story about the good versus old fishing rod, right? Like, you're out there getting the work done, and you're starting to see what works and what doesn't work. And I think at the end of the day, that's so true. Like, and I think the beauty of what he does is that he can take, and this is a Dan Cole moment, he can take an idea, in this case, lead generation, that requires 1 million, gigabits of data to process, and then distill it down to only 10 gigabits of information and provide it to you in a way where you can eat it bite-sized. I think he broke it down even further. I feel like easily like 2 gigabytes of information. And now that's why everyone's afraid of, because he's made the game easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Like,
Yeah.
oh, now people are going to know. Like,
Yeah, there's no friction.
these frameworks that he's sharing, people have dressed up in so many different ways. So, like, some new
100%.
revolutionary way to get leads. And it's like, no, you gave it a name. Your proprietary method is just your concoction of the very
100%.
things he laid out simply. And that's what I've loved from him from day one. It's like, he's like, oh, wow, someone at that level, like, oh, it's that simple. Like,
That's
oh,
all.
you go to these top dogs and you just ask about how do we get more customers and how do we make them worth more. and there's only a few ways to do both. I'm like, that's amazing.
Dude,
That's
like, come
amazing.
on.
It's not like these billions of little unique things that you have to come up with this crazy recipe. So
Seriously.
I think that's what's
Seriously.
always drawn me to him, and he just continues to deliver.
You know what? When I watched the end of his first video, I literally felt like, you know how everyone's saying that the new millionaires are being made because of the digital creative community, right? And I couldn't help but think, I am gonna be part of that. Like, I really felt that, and I felt so grateful because of the lesson he taught us. Because you can't unlearn this now. Like, if all else hits the fan, like he's taught principles that were being sold way back when, 1973. Like I told you earlier, that to break it down to one of the quadrants, just the warm outreach approach. There were people from Stanford University, sociologists like Mark, I think it's Pretzel something, I don't know the full name, but he was talking about the power of warm ties and how using those relationships sparks opportunity, sparks perspective, and sparks insight. So from way back in 1973, he was talking about how you're more likely to win if you pull on old ties. This is the warm outreach. He said it. Alex Hormozi just referenced the idea. That's also found in the book Super Connector by Scott Gerber. He talks about warm ties that he's used to open up doors of opportunity, even though they're like 7 years old. He still opened doors to opportunity to massive wins just because he pulled on an old tie. And that's what Alex says. Alex says warm outreach is just pulling on an old tie, or a loose tie from way back then. They know you, so you can have a conversation and then take it where you want it to go.
Yeah, dude. When you pair that with great product can be service too. That's what I see, because you hear him preaching, having really good free stuff, really good product. It doesn't mean like I think the whole sell it and then build it doesn't fit everything. Like sometimes you literally have to have a minimum viable product, but a really good one. And so that's what I keep taking from him is like, make sure you always have promotion going. Promotion can just be free content. It doesn't have to be like, get this thing while you continue to put that time. Look at him. He looks like he built his writing habit. He writes every day for a certain amount of time. And so he always has that product time and he's always making content. Like he's always doing both.
But I think
that's key.
We missed a third piece. A third piece is actually experience. Because remember, he's buying companies and he's testing. Mind you, he's not doing it manually. He has a team that are willing to get these feedback loops on behalf of these companies that he's acquired. And now he can see, just like how we did when working through the outbound automation, we know a thing or two when it comes to getting connection rates using LinkedIn automation, right? But he has it at scale. He knows how to do it for hiring, for operations, for software development, for whatever the case is. He has more fingers getting these feedback loop, and now he's taking it in, and now he can distill that information in the content that you mentioned, right? Every day he brings up something new. So I think that's another piece that we want to add to that like actually experience in doing the thing, which is the hard work that he talks about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because it doubles down on the evidence and the confidence. The evidence creates confidence, right?
Exactly.
He would say, don't build confidence, build evidence, and then it's just going to compound.
It naturally works.
I think that's what's amazing. And I think what he really teaches, if you're someone looking to get the first 5 customers, first 5 clients, or you feel like you're launching something new, being willing to start a little bit lower on pricing, get people results, like, hey, let me get you results, and we'll would love to hear your feedback so we can, you can use that as testimonial. But
100%.
Yeah, but 100%. you've been seeing some taking action, haven't you, on the warm outreach? We've been trying, and especially you on the warm outreach side. How's that been going?
100%. And for me, I think what really excited me about the warm outreach is because I heard another win not too long ago before this launch of Alex Hormozi. And I spoke about this one before, Blake Newbar's success, right? Blake Newbar had the Freedom Fighter Facebook group where he teaches people how to become financially free using digital products, right? This is way back, maybe like 2018, I think, something like that. But what he did was before he started making noise, like, yes, he was on social media. He tried business. He tried like 4 businesses that all failed. But along the way, he continued to nurture relationships. Like, just like, hey, I know a guy on Facebook group. I know that guy, he has an agency. I know a guy who does copywriting. Like, he's nurtured these deposits, and he kind of watered those seeds. And when it came down to it, to this new idea of like, let me launch a Facebook group to bring leads together, which I will then convert. In order to do that, I would go ahead and reach out to all the warm contacts, the warm outreach people, and say, hey,
people who know you, right?
People who know them.
That's seriously warm and cold. People who know you, who don't.
100%. And content fueled that, right?
Yeah.
And conversations fueled that. So it was cold along with content that created a warm, right? And then at that point, he was nurturing that. And then they all said yes to wanting to shout out his Facebook launch at the same time. So everyone, all 100 people shouted it, and the social media was just going crazy. Like, whoa, like, there's a picture of this guy everywhere. By the time in the next 7 days when he launched, he had 2,000 people sign up on that first launch day. And then fast forward just to date, I think he's way past 20,000, right? And Facebook groups, we don't know where they're at now, but I think they're still working good. But for him, he's made 6 figures from that easily. So it made me realize, like, this works even before Alex said it, right? It just
totally
the connections, right?
He's just clarifying. He's laying the variables out there, right?
He's
Back
laying the
to
variables.
when you know
There
the
you go.
variables and a simple how, like you keep things
Yes.
simple and knowing what to prioritize based on where you're at in
Exactly.
business. Then you
100%.
then discipline can take over and win out.
100%. And for
Yeah.
me, in terms to answer your question, seeing that I'm seeing these patterns everywhere, I was like, I'm just going to take action. I'm not going to be writing down the notes. I want to try. So one of the action items for the warm outreach was create your list of connections that are outside of cold, but people that know you, and start reaching out to them. And I only wrote down 3 this morning because I'm not going to waste time. It's just 3 people I remember. And then I reached out to one of them with a voice note, and then easily nurtured. I had a great conversation, like revamping things, and then asking him about an idea, which then led to his agency, which then the conversation led to a tool that I'm using that's working for my outreach. I sent him a video. Immediately he says, how does this work? Like, I want to know. The lead became an engaged lead, right? Which is one of the things, the steps there. And then immediately he says, I think we should book a Zoom call. I didn't even have to ask, right? He said that.
That was cool to
So,
see. I think we should book a Zoom call.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, like, okay, there you go. So immediately we booked a discovery call, you can say, or a strategy session, right? And I can easily sell that, and it's not weird because I know him already.
No, it's
So now
goodwill. It's goodwill, and it was like, hey, let's help each other win.
Yes, 100%.
So I think the more
Okay.
people can do that, and the more we can do that, it's like, hey, we want to win. Let's win together. See if we can find ways.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's
That was
really
only
cool
day
to
one.
hear.
Yeah.
Really cool to hear. I'm gonna pull this up real quick just because I think
Go
the
ahead.
quadrant's helpful of what we're actually even talking about if someone
Yes.
hasn't seen it. But yeah,
Okay.
I see this because we talk about the scaling engine flywheel a lot, right? And
Yes.
the attract is one of our pillars, and I think that's, you're attracting traffic into the funnels, and now I see this quadrant in that pillar.
100%. 100%. And it's funny
That's what
because,
I
like,
think of.
it's funny because you can bring down so many different frameworks into the idea that we have. And like, it's even after the first attract stage, you got your engage, right? And I think there's so many ways you can do that. Like yesterday, I watched a video with Neil Patel, and he says that meme marketing is really a big thing, right? Like, if it's relevant to your industry, you can use that in your inbound, your outbound conversations. Like, so it's like, yes, this is one piece Alex shares of the overall system that we're laying out, and we're hoping to just lay it all out, right? Whether it be from this launch, from a launch that Russell has made, a launch from Blake Newbar, Neil Patel. I think that's the beauty of here. We want to make sure we give it all away and organize it as well as easy as Alex has. He's definitely someone
Totally,
to
because
model.
it's like very framework heavy. I could see watching some of it, how you go to start gluing tools together, right? And
Yep.
gluing it all together.
Exactly.
The more consolidated you can get. So we'll hit on that later. But Yeah, so this is
Exactly.
the quadrant here, the 4 quadrants, but he calls it the core 4, right? There's only 4 ways to get leads,
Mm-hmm.
and it's warm outreach, cold outreach, post free content, and run paid ads. I need to find the one where he shows essentially the ones on the left, warm outreach and post free content, are those who know you, and then the
Yeah.
right two are those who don't know you, and then the
Correct.
top quadrant is 1-to-1, and then the
Yes.
bottom is 1-to-many, right? So
Correct.
I thought that was
Correct.
super helpful. And then if you can get others, customers, affiliates, employees, agencies to do those for you, then things compound, right? Especially affiliates, and referrals. People, one
Seriously,
tells two, tells four, tells eight. It's pretty cool.
it's amazing.
Pretty cool to
It's
think of, that can compound, and it all hinges on great brand, great product too. So
100%, 100%. And I love the fact that there's leverage behind it, right? Like, if you can figure out how to get the leverage piece of it, you now have an asset that you can live off of, right?
right.
You hand it off to his affiliate, and you know that if I were to go to work tomorrow, or better yet, go on a vacation tomorrow, that machine will keep running. And I think that's where I really want to move toward. Yes, I like the manual approach to learn the lessons, but ultimately I'm trying to go straight to the leverage or work my way up right to the leverage and earn that spot. Because once we do that, we can pop these out for anyone and give it to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's
hmm
my dream. I wish I can do that. I'm gonna do that for sure.
It's in you.
Just
It's
give
in
it
you.
to somebody, right? Like,
You know why I know it's gonna happen?
why?
Because we've known each other for like a year and a half, and through the ups and downs, the passion hasn't left for
Yeah,
exactly that. It's only clarified,
seriously.
and now I feel like it's an engine getting ready to take off.
It's
Yeah,
killing you, Jen.
yeah. There we go.
Seriously. No, that's awesome. That's so true though, because we've been on the same topic, same topic, and we've seen ups in income, downs in income, and the ups again, right? And it's like we're still talking about the same thing. That's probably how Benjamin Franklin felt. Wait, is that no Thomas Edison felt? Right, when working to the light bulb, it's like, oh, well, I'm back at it, right? Back at it.
And we've had that the 2 lever issue, right, where it's like fulfill and sell.
Yeah.
I mean to start the year, we kind of had to pivot and make sure that this was good, the fulfillment, and things have got more systematized and documenting. We're getting there, right? And so now we're like, hey, let's double down on what Hormozi's teaching us, what we already know, but now we have even clearer path on. And I think for us, it's that warm outreach, cold outreach, get that feedback loop, so we know activity's going while we're working on the content habit as well. And then once you prove the offer and get results, maybe sooner than later, try the paid ads as well. I mean, I think clearly the big machines are kind of doing a combo.
100%. I think, yeah, you're right. Every big machine, like, they have something running in every area. And I think the same way that Russell Brunson has explained it. He says, like, if you're building a house, and essentially those are like two houses. One is the self-made, and the other one is the leveraged way. And it's a house that's handling other areas. Like a house, you have plumbing, which is like one quadrant. The other one is electrical, a different quadrant, right? The other one is what trash. I don't know, but
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. Like oh, actually, keeping things warm with the thermal area, whatever the case is, AC, right? But
yeah.
there's these different quadrants that if someone is there manning the station, that house can thrive, right? And I think that's the analogy, the big idea that I want to continue for us to realize that we are building our own home, right? And there's other people that I showed you that talks about the same idea that we have a home, and at the end of the day, that home is playing music, and that those music notes, the music should resonate with the person on the outside and interest
Mhm.
them enough to want to come in, right? And then once they come in, they'll see the pictures on the wall, which is your products, your content, and at the end of the day, there's a VIP area. That VIP area is where they charge more to get access to the private center, right? And I think that's, if we can build our house in that way, there's always going to be income coming from it. And if you can set it up in a way where it's a smart home, and you can leave, and the home is still running for you, you know you will always have a roof over your head, regardless of where you're at in life.
The more we flesh this out, the more I love it, because a healthy home is a place of care. It's a place of relationship. Even if dude, we're going to be gone, but feel free to use the pool, like open fridge rights or whatever. Someone can still be served. It puts such good power, because some people could be like, oh, set it and forget it. It feels like you're losing the touch. No, people are being served. Some people build a giant mansion with a giant lake, community lake. That's the level of impact they want to have. Some people, it's like, people come and go, kind of like a little hotel, maybe a little bed and breakfast kind of action.
An Airbnb.
Airbnb, little houses, multiple ventures, maybe have multiple houses.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And so
Exactly.
I thought it was cool this morning when you were fleshing that out to me, just thinking of that in terms of joint ventures too, like going to someone else's house who has a big house with a lake of people and you have similar synergy. You want to help those people come and go from that house, right?
Exactly.
Maybe they benefit from coming to your house and getting some help there as well.
Exactly. And it's funny because, like, when at the end of the day, a home is a home, and people feel safer going to someone else's home, and you could easily, like you said, get an influencer to come visit my home one of these days, right? Like, yeah, it's small, but it's honest work, right? It sees that I'm doing something, I'm working it keeps me well fed and my family safe. You know what I mean? It entertains the folks out here. Like, no one's gonna doubt unless you're the guy who likes to build the tallest building in town and wants to smash others, right? And then you'll find a lot of those, right? Like, there's a guy named FaZe Rug, a YouTuber, who he's like, well, I don't know why, but my family loves his family on YouTube. Like, I never want to meet someone so bad and want to buy them presents. I don't know why, but people online are the opposite. Some people actually said they call it swatting, where they find the home and they call the FBI and say there's a hostage situation, and someone came to his house 3 a.m. in the morning, helicopters, police, pulled him out, and they're like, guns on him. You know what I mean? Like,
dang, that's
it's supposed
crazy.
to be a safe home, right? So they call it swatting, and they do it toward the YouTubers who are doing well, who have a beautiful home. They always do that, and I'm like, so it was a thing that was going on, but there's always going to be someone who's going to want to swat your home.
They're intimidated and jealous of the success. I guess, it's comparison.
Yeah.
Now everybody's, especially the bigger people get, they're just eyeballs are all over them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Seriously.
But it's a good point too. Like if you don't know someone, you're a little hesitant to go into someone's house you don't know.
Yes.
But if someone who you like, you go to their house all the time, like, hey, you should know this person. You all should go hang out. I already coordinated, go over to his house, hang out in the backyard for a barbecue kind of deal.
Yes, that's it. That's
cool.
Idea.
It kind of put even a visual to that know, like, and trust, the transfer of trust.
100%. And if you think about it, if you're just visiting people's houses in a way where we're sharing your ideas and my ideas and similar, we're still in the same neighborhood, city of Visalia, right? At the end of the day, like, yeah, I can bring something that's valuable to your house, right? Like you said, a really cool barbecue pit. People like it, right? And when I go over to your house and share that, they're like, yo, like, how'd you get this? How'd you make that meat? You brought sandwiches? Yeah, if you want to learn more, I do this at my house, right? And now you're doing this promotion angle that we talked about. You know what I mean? And it goes into even deeper than that. Like we said, you bring sandwiches, we learn how to pack, right? We have so many frameworks that it's going to be insane that when we finally distill it and get it down in a way where people take it in and apply it, it's going to be powerful.
I can see a house that people navigate and learn all the frameworks.
100%.
We'll literally make a house out of it in some form or fashion.
Oh, what's those thing called? Remember those little fake houses used to make for school? Like a Dollarama or...
I don't know. I've made one out of, popsicle sticks, Legos, Lincoln Logs. That's classic.
Yeah, it's a little cotton...
Throwback.
The cotton balls as the clouds, and you paint the backgrounds with the little army soldier people.
We need some more fun like that in life.
Yeah, it's creative. Very creative. But
I think to end, that just made me think of, I heard someone say the other day, it was Post Malone of all people. Seems like it's such a nice guy. But anyways, he said he feels like the goal is to just never stop being a kid. And I don't think that always means like eating like a 4-year-old, like, Pop-Tarts and whatnot. But I read a book back in the day called Awe by I forget the guy's name. He survived an awful fire as a kid, like so many physical issues from it. But he's been able to reclaim, like, not lose his all for life, and like teach people how to not lose the things that make us special as a kid, whether it's childlike faith or creativity or your dreaming. You know what I mean? As we become more and more like adults or more into adulthood, I feel like the easier it is to let dreams get squished and believe that things, you know, we're just being pragmatic now. I think as we pursue this, that idea of dreaming, never losing the belief that something big can happen, and kind of having fun with it like a kid. I don't know. I like that perspective.
No, it's very true. Because at the end of the day, it's like a vision, right? Like when Christmas comes and when it's like months before Christmas and you're wanting that one idea, and then you're doing favors for your mom and dad, cleaning the house and being nice to your brothers and sisters, and the parents see like, oh, he or she's really wanting this gift, and that when that vision of this gift every day causes you to want to do the effort to get the gift, right? Like my son's done that, right? He would vacuum the stairs and would try to fix his bed the best he can, brush his teeth, and he starts to live by that up until the day. Mind you, after he gets it, he's like, well, I never brushed my teeth before. Like, what the heck? But it's like that idea, like we can live like kids and have childlike faith, right? And be willing to do the hard work that would require us or would grant us the gift of whatever we're seeking. We're going to get it. And it's like, it reminds me of what like even a Bible verse in itself, right? But yeah, that's really cool that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I love that, because like we build discipline and hard work as we grow older. We pair that with the creativity and like the dreaming of a kid. That's
exactly
discipline and creativity.
Exactly.
Pair that.
Right? I love that.
And
man.
promotion and product, right?
Promotion and product, and warm outreach and cold outreach. And
yeah. Experience. Build that experience. Build the evidence. So I would highly recommend people go check out that whole video and acquisition.com, wherever to find Hormozi's thing. I mean, it's free. I think he even lays out a whole roadmap, 0 to 100 million. I'm sure it is.
100%.
But go and apply that to create leads around. And his first book was around how to create an offer. So
yes, 1,000%. And if anything, we're there watching and consuming this alongside you, but we're trying to tailor it to specifically the software world, right? At least to start, and then we'll start to work into other areas. But that's someone I'm familiar with. Noah's a software expert.
I'm just a nut. I just like tools.
Exactly, right? You just pull it. He always has the right information at the right time. But I think that's the thing. We resonate with that person, because it's like us. I love software, but I can never get the time to do it, like to learn code. One day I will have the freedom to be able to learn this fully, and that's what I dream of. And only way to do so is to build an asset, right? Get that.
That's right, dude. Build the asset.
Get that free time.
Learn plus execute, and when you can, learn from executing.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So
I think that's the biggest key right there. When as you're doing the work and you're sharing this with the world, people resonate and they say, "I want to be like you," but it shows you're human. Secondly, and then you kind of smooth out the rough edges of how to speak in front of others and what others like to hear and what you should be focused on that can give that to others. So I guess you are your own persona.
Yes, we've been really trying to remember that, haven't we? And then I just keep seeing in that attraction, when you're attracting people and it goes into the sales, value, empathy, and authority, right? If you can give genuinely helpful things, be relatable with the empathy, and actually have the evidence to show you know how to get results, it's a win-win combination right there. Then they'll want to cross your bridge.
100%. So let's do this. Last minute before we jump off, what's that action item piece around the warm outreach? Because we're talking about the core 4 now, right? And what we've learned, what would be one thing you would say that someone could apply outside of what Alex has shared, or maybe within it, that's worked for you and that they can apply today?
I would have to say just really digging in to your contacts and getting curious about who could actually be a great conversation. Because it's not just would that person be a fit, it's who they know. For me, that's the biggest shift, and I think that's even the framework he teaches. compliment them, ask them if they know someone who would benefit from what you're doing. Because if they know, like, and trust you and know you do great work, they're likely to recommend, So I think just having that perspective, actually, that makes 10 people that you know become potentially 100 people. So I would think through, I would not underestimate who you know and who knows you, and just reaching out in a simple way to catch up and to care about what they're doing and share a little about what you're doing.
100%. And although Alex Hormozi shares the framework that creates money as a result, if you want to stand out of stand out or expand, add your own creative touch to the warm outreach, I would highly suggest reading the book Super Connector. The reason why is because everyone now is going to copy word for word what Alex Hormozi has shared. That's exactly what's going to happen. However, the book Super Connector will allow you to add your own touch to the warm outreach, because he's the one, from that book, it expands upon the loose ties, right? And that book only goes further back to when sociologist Mark Granovetter talked about that initially. So there's principles behind it that worked, and how in that book they were able to build large communities of millionaires from the idea of using weak or loose ties. So I would definitely consider using that as an action step if you want to master this area of warm outreach.
I love that, because they're frameworks, right? Think in terms of frameworks. Just like a house, back to the house, you want to put your own style inside, right? You can even do things on the outside, right? Make it your own, make it unique. Put your flavor on there. Put your personality into it.
Exactly, and it takes different touch points. So if everyone got the same paint, we all look the same. Just like how AI is giving the same style of communication, and now everyone is. It's like that fine Waldo, right? But everyone's Waldo at this time with the AI, and it's like, well, where's Daniel? Where's Noah? You know what I mean? So it really tried to put your
makes video
spin.
Important.
Yeah, video is so important.
So important.
So important now.
The through line with all four, the core four, is content. It's writing, like Dan Coe would say. The skill set of writing.
It is
of content. So I think as macros I can think of, it's actually getting content out there. That's all four, get content out there in front of people.
It is.
So
don't wait, because
we'll think we're not doing build it and they'll come, and that's what we end up doing. So
no,
you gotta avoid it and get uncomfortable.
That's so true. Well, let's end it at that, because that's some good stuff right there.
Yes, sir. Hey, Hormozi making success open source.
Seriously?
Like a legend.
Hey, well, we're going to continue to be on our quest to make success a little bit more open sourced.
Good stuff, man. Catch you in the next one.
Hey, thanks for watching the Success Open Source Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to subscribe and join the community. Until next time, take care, and let's all make success a little more open source.